COVID-19 in Fresno County Jail by Martina Abdul-Shahid. COVID-19 is a coronavirus that affects the respiratory system, meaning the nose, the mouth, throat, and lungs. Some coronaviruses cause cold-like symptoms, while others cause severe illnesses. The most common way for COVID-19 to be transmitted is by droplets that contain the virus. The droplets travel through air and enter through the mouth, nose, and throat of other person within 6 feet, causing lung inflammation. The effects of COVID-19 has been detrimental worldwide. It has affected a lot of countries and have caused a lot of death. However, Fresno County has been disproportionately affected by COVID-19, specifically Fresno County Jail, which has the highest COVID-19 cases in all U.S. jails and prisons. This has to do with the fact that Fresno County Jail has been dealing with overcrowding since the failed 3-strike reform initiative.
The overcrowding created a whole lot of mess. It created a whole lot of mess for people emotionally, spiritually, physically.
Another reason is the lack of accessibility to masks and sanitary products. Here's a clip of an interview with an inmate.
And do you have the tools to clean?
No, we don't have the tools. We have to use water and soap and try and clean up what we can until they give us some disinfectant or we tell them get the guys who are clothes. I've seen it before. They let them stay that way for hours.
Are you getting any extra soap?
Soap? No, I don't.
Third reason is due to poor air circulation inside jails. A jail is like a cruise ship in many regards. Closed containers, no matter what PPE is given, will inevitably cause the spread of a virus like COVID-19, said attorney Schweitzer. Inmates having higher susceptibility to COVID-19 due to poor living conditions. Inmate mental health is worse off than the general public. The Bureau of Justice statistics show that inmates are 3 to 12 times more likely to have mental health illness than the general community. More than 40% of jail inmates have mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. People with COVID-19 have higher levels of PTSD and anxiety and levels of depression. Moreover, those with pre-existing psychiatric disorders prior to COVID-19 experience worsened psychiatric symptoms. Although mental health of inmates is being greatly impacted by COVID-19, only a very small population in jail, about 8%, are actually offered medication for their medical conditions due to jailers' refusal to pay for their treatments. With the growing COVID-19 cases in jails, jailers are using prolonged solitary confinement to isolate symptomatic individuals. During the first COVID-19 peak in April, rate of solitary confinement increased by 500%. Keep in mind, solitary confinement is recognized as a form of torture by the UN. Also, a study by UCSF showed that the solitary confinement may worsen transmission of COVID-19 because it deters inmates from reporting symptoms and seeking treatments. There is a need to decrease solitary confinement and practice more medical isolations where affected inmates are housed with other positive 19 COVID inmates. That way they can maintain human interactions. Crowdedness and poor air circulation in jail led to spread of COVID-19, which in turn exacerbate mental health issues among inmates, thus making them more susceptible to COVID-19. This continuous cycle of disproportionate effect of COVID-19 on inmates is maintained by mass incarceration that increases jail population, by poor health care that does not meet the inmates' needs, by jailers' refusal to provide for mental health medication expenses, and finally the poor treatment that inmates face such as solitary confinement and physical abuses. What could be done to mitigate the disproportionate effect of COVID-19 on inmates' mental health in Fresno County Jail? There is a need to provide social distancing opportunities to inmates by drastically reducing inmates' population through 1. Dispersing inmates through pre-trial release programs, and 2. Utilizing available areas like exercise rooms as temporary housing to provide maximum social distancing. A specific way of dispersing jail inmates is by releasing a portion of them with non-violent or non-serious offenses into home confinements. These are all short-term solutions. What about long-term remedies? There is a need for policy reforms targeted to decreasing jail population by having stricter rules about the way people are policed and incarcerated. There is also a need for reforming the healthcare systems in jails. More specifically, inmates should have access to healthcare that meets their physical and mental health needs. The general population can take part in this process by voting in federal and state elections and practicing in political parties. To remind people of the importance of COVID-19 problems in jail, I end with 2 quotes. First, the sheriff and the DA usually like to scare people by saying inmates are the worst of the worst, but in reality, they're the poorest of the poor. That attorney Schweitzer. Second, the degree of civilization in a society can be judged by entering its prisons.